Incredibly sorry, everybody. My game has crashed, but we joined just as the safety car has ended. It looks like it is, so just back in time. For the time being, let's get those tyre strategies back up, and I'll try and get the stream back in as well. But it looks like Banter Brandon hasn't gone quite yet, but he has now. Life Power, a little slide as he exits there, but he catches. Banter Brandon's caught him sleeping at the moment, so that is going to not be ideal for the Haas driver. That rain looks like it is on its way as the sun has decided to retreat behind the clouds. I'm just getting everything back in order and watching along with Life Out at the minute. I'll keep an eye on the timing boards. It's like Paulie Orange is on the attack as well in that Alfa Romeo. He's got the Alpha Tauri of Eat My Dust in his sights at the minute, and it looks like he's going to go for the move. He's got some incredible speed coming down the Camel Straight now. Will he go for the move? He does. He pulls to the inside as he goes nowhere for the Alpha Tauri to go. There's contact made. RJ and Eat My Dust look like they've made some contact. Late braking from the Alpha Tauri. That's got to be some damage. But RJ all the way around. That is a huge shame for the Mercedes driver. He was well up in the points. But now he finds himself lamenting in P15 after having contact made. Safety car shuffled things up, not too much, but it's certainly put a bit of a dampener on, not a dampener on the race, but it's kind of made a new opportunity here, and Paulie Orange makes his way past MX, who's on those older tyres. He didn't come in, remember, the German-Canadian. Let me find commentator streams channel there, please. I do apologise again for my game crashing. I'm not sure what happened there exactly, but we are back up and running now. So hopefully everybody finds their way back into the session all well and good. JD on the, not JD and Pim on the attack at the minute. Everybody on their Daphne Hilliard with that interesting strategy for the soft tyres. They're not going to last them too long. Paulie Orange dispatches of Jack Alaka, who has come into the pits. So never mind, another place gain for Paulie Orange. Alfa Romeo running 4-6 at the moment, with Haas doing well, running 2 and 5 at the minute. Paulie Orange has got Ghost in his sights. I think this might be a clear-cut move for the Alfa Romeo. Look how fast he is. Already he's opening up that thing. Ghost is trying to defend it as best he can. They're going to go side by side into Lake Com. This is a battle on our hands here. They're going to... Jeez, I unplugged my mic once again. Everything's going wrong here. It seems that Paulie Orange makes his way past Ghost, the defending champion, who's back down into P4 where he started this race. Lawrence has made up a place, but he's a Ghost, I think. I'm pretty sure he's been AI the whole time. The rain must be on its way. Jack Alako's out. Jack Alako out of the session. That's going to be a safety car. And if that rain, if it wasn't time to pit for intermediate tyres before, it certainly is now. That is a huge shock. Jack Alako out of the session. He's crashed coming out of Lake Com. And there's the stricken McLaren maybe? No, we're not going to see it, but it was on the barriers just along this run down to Brussels. But the rain has started to drop down here in Belgium, but we've got a second safety car, and RJ and Eat My Dust had all pitted early. All had seen the rain coming, and Jack Alako was looking like in a good spot actually to make up some places as the rain has come, but has unfortunately crashed. That is a huge shame for the Scotsman. Oh, excuse me. In the rain comes Daphne Hilliard. Perhaps his soft strategy didn't get him too far, but wasn't the worst call ever made. On to the intermediates go some of the other drivers, and yeah, those guys are way too far back. Oh, Jacko, you know better than to make big balls moves in the wet. You know far better than that. It's a shame, buddy. We were running really well, and I think we might have put on those intermediates at just the right time. But anyway, things are going to be relatively unchanged, it seems, as they come out of the pits. But we are racing in the wet, but it's safety car conditions. For the second time here at this Belgian Grand Prix, and it's a much slicker surface. Will this rain get heavier? That is the question. Lots of rain actually in already. We've had 2 wet races, 1 wet qualifying, or changeable conditions at least in this one. Yes, it is a big oof indeed. Yeah, it does sound awful, doesn't it? Let's get off board with the Ferrari as we follow him around at the moment. But another safety car. We've had a VSC and 2 full course cautions. Or full course safety cars, in fact. So plenty of chance. We've lost Jackalacco, Little Manny Man, Vin and Sox. If you join us just now in this race, Vin and Sox crashed a few laps ago, bringing out the first safety car. Little Manny Man crashed under that first safety car, and then Jackalacco crashed and brought out this current and second safety car period. Back aboard that horrible grinding 5th gear noise, but unchanged. Poorly Orange looking really good. And it'll be now time for the drivers to, well, for us to see which drivers are going to be a bit more accustomed to the wet weather. It's tricky. We've got to see a lot of wet weather driving last time out in the Netherlands, and we're going to see a lot more of it here, it seems. Intermediate conditions rather than full wet conditions this time. As we go around, maybe the safety car, I think it's going to go around once more. It is. Normally it comes in around Stavilo. 100% wet races this season. Yeah, maybe. It will certainly keep it interesting. We do love a bit of dynamic weather here in APPF1. I do love a wet race myself. They are always they're very interesting indeed. No, that's it. No wet in the Netherlands. Wet in Belgium. So who's going to be brave and try to take Al Rouge and Rally on at full throttle? That'll divide the boys from the men, won't it? Yes, it was. It was absolutely throwing it down in the Netherlands. Both sessions. Certainly put a spanner in the works. I'm sure Ghost will want to be looking for some redemption in these wet conditions. After a crash that should have really taken him out. Safety car should be in this lap. Maybe we can have some helmets. Horrible damage. It's purple. Oh, that's quite nice. Live battle. Well, that's quite cool looking. Sort of white and black. That's a cool design. Probably orange this one's quite cool. It's sort of fairly simple, but looks good. Got the orange, the white, and the black. Ghost there. I can't quite see his helmet. Quite a sleek looking one on. No default ones for the time being, so it's good. These guys aren't even the same helmet. It's an LB full grey helmet. A shiny one, pin. Same. Ghost. RJ there, like RJ's helmet. Standard design, but the koi fish. Very nice helmet design indeed. And that safety car is in. We go through and try and find some talking points in this race. Banter Brandon leading the way once more as we're in these wet conditions. And our drivers now having to find themselves getting used to a whole new circuit in a way, as it's now the conditions and the grippiness of the track will have changed fairly significantly as we get ourselves back underway. He's got until the moment that safety car peels into the pits to the line to get this race started up again. Will he catch L Lifebout sleeping? Will he make a mistake? Will Lifebout get a much better start. Let's see as we get going once again. And Banter Brandon once again a decent restart, catches Lifebound sleeping again, and sleeping so much that Paulie Orange is going to probably go for a move here if he's not too careful. But Banter Brandon, a master of the wet conditions it seems, as he starts to pull out that second gap already, 1.2 seconds now, as he does an incredible restart from the Ferrari here. And Ghost and Paulie Orange are going to be left to start chasing down the Haas of Lifebound. Ghost and Paulie Orange very close together. Ghost looking for an attack. JD's back in the mix as well. He's got a time penalty under his belt though, does the Aston Martin, so he'll have to be careful. Very tentative into late on, but it's understandable with these new conditions that we find ourselves in. Meanwhile, Rick is challenging LB a bit further back. JD, another time penalty for the Aston Martin. We'll have a little look at that. We're halfway through this session now, well, just over halfway through perhaps, on lap 12 of 22, as we got 11 laps left of this Grand Prix, and the fight at the front is heating up. Paulie Orange has lost a bit of ground to Lifebout at the moment. Lifebout trying to gain ground once more. It's going to be Ghost, JD and Paulie Orange fighting for P3, but 6 seconds of time penalties I think for that Aston Martin. It is for time for track limits infringements, so not going to be making up too much ground unless he can get past them and open up 6 seconds. And we got a spin. That's JD is out of the race. This could be the third safety car of this session, and it is. More safety cars to come. JD has crashed. You can see the Aston Martin just stricken a bit further back. It's given it a bit too much through Stavilo. Spun and finds himself in the wall. That is the third driver to go there, and we're under safety car once again. This race stopped. Lots of safety cars at the moment, it seems, here in Tier 1, and the racing is getting a little bit interrupted now, and I'm sure the drivers are a bit frustrated with yet another safety car period. But if you're Banter Brandon, you're thinking, you know, this is an easy one for me. If there's more safety cars, there's less time I have to defend, but he's currently doing incredibly well to keep the likes of Lifebound, Paulie Orange and Ghost away, and is quite frankly dominating at the moment. This race is not over yet. We've got 10 laps left to go, and certainly some good racing yet to be had. Trying to find some talking points here. We've got more safety cars and this, that and the other out here. Excuse me, it's a very long way round, especially under safety car. Don't look like the rain's getting any worse at the minute. Back on board with the Ferrari, making our way around. That's 5 drivers out now. The wet conditions claiming another victim here at Spa. It's a difficult track sometimes, especially in these 2022 cars. Got to treat it with respect. I doubt anybody will be coming in unless some big damage is on these cars. A 5-second time penalty for Pim for corner cutting. He's got to give a few places back, and slowed down the back of the pack there, it seems. But everybody returning to their positions And a pin giving those places back. So remaining Aston Martin with 5-second time penalty. Not the best way to go. Back underway very soon, so make one more trip for safety. Safety car is finding its way into the pits then for the third time this evening. And Banter Brandon is going to lead our drivers around and restart this race for the third time this evening. As we get going once again, actually the fourth time, if you count the VSC of course, in the mix. Will Banter Brandon punch in the same space? I wouldn't put it past him. He's actually peeling into the pit lane. As is Lifebout. What is going on here? I think the rain is getting heavier and the drivers are peeling in. Paulie Orange doesn't peel into the pits. This is going to be very interesting. Drivers are changing their tyre strategies, it seems. So at the moment Paulie Orange is thrust into the front, but yes, the rain has got worse here at Spa. Banter Brandon just getting out ahead of MX in the Haas. At the moment, so not blocked in the pit lane. Lifebout going, MX slowed down a little bit. Lifebout's going to be all over the back of him here with the position of the pit lane for the Haas team. But Banter Brandon back out on the wet tyres, not as close as he would have wanted to be, is Lifebout at the moment. And many drivers not coming in. Ghost has found himself way down the order here, in fact. And Rick has found himself up in the mix, so pitting after the safety car has certainly mixed up the grid at the moment. Daphne Hilliers sits provisionally P3 if the other drivers don't come out behind, which I think they will. So these guys I think should have probably followed suit and come in. Especially those two Mercedes, they're going to get in each other's way I think under this pit stop if they're not too careful. Let's look at the difference in time already as Banter Brandon is catching up, and you can see it is definitely getting worse. So Mark with the strategy call, changing the tyres, and look at the gap, 6.7 seconds to the next driver from Lifebout. So it's definitely Lifebout and Banter Brandon, your leading duo at the moment. Banter Brandon, they're already on the back of these intermediate tyre runners. These guys are technically racing for position, so they can fight away, and a little bit of contact there from the Ferrari and that Mercedes, but Lifebout, well RJ, sorry, lets through that Ferrari as he continues to move along on those wet tyres. All these drivers will most likely be coming into the pit lane, but Banter Brandon is finding it easier out there. Ghost getting past Lawrence in the Alpine, and there's a bit of a tussle here between Lifebout and RJ. As there it is, it's just him letting through the faster driver at the moment as everybody else is peeling into the pits for those wet tyres. We'll see those gaps now as the drivers come in. But yes, Paulie Orange is probably going to plummet here for coming in a bit too late. Let's see. He's held up in the pit lane. That's not great. Oh, no, he's not. It's just the game being a bit dumb. Will he come out in front or behind Ghost? He's going to come out in front of him, it seems. So not actually losing as much as thought. But these guys' tyres are going to be much more warmed up. MX and Daphne Hilliers, they're going to go side by side. Surely not. MX getting ahead as Daphne Hilliers backs out a little bit. MX forced to cut across the track. I'm sure he'll get a penalty for that, perhaps. Or some such. Anyway, Rick... he's getting his elbows out now as well. He wants to try and get past this Alfa Romeo. Daphne Hilliers to try not and hit the car ahead of him, and Rick has got ahead of the Alfa Romeo at the moment. Ghost is sat behind. Ghost probably the biggest loser in this switch up onto the wet tyres at the moment, and is down in P7 right now. He's got some cars ahead of him to get dispatch of. Pim went out onto another set of intermediates. Not sure that was the right call from the Aston Martin garage. The race sort of neutralised. This is your closest battle on track. Ghost and Daphne Hilliers as we go through Pouron, and that's Daphne Hilliers round and almost heavily into the wall. The Alfa Romeo as he comes through. Ghost will happily take that position and now set his sights on the McLaren of Rick. Tinnos P10 gets ahead of Eat My Dust through the Stavolo corners. Stavolo 1. That was the Italian getting his wet weather boots in gear and finding his way around the track with ease. There's not much of a fight at the front for the time being. LB now gets his way past Eat My Dust as well. Eat My Dust lamenting a little bit in these wet conditions in that Alpha Tauri. Closest battle at the moment. Looks like it's in the midfield here with Daphne Hilliers, Tinnos and LB all chasing the ghosted car of Lawrence, who is not in this race. Actually, he's AI and he has been for the majority of the session. So the drivers will just dispatch of him and begin to focus on each other. Rick is making up some ground on MX, who's not got so much pace now. Normally he gets a bit quicker pace in the race, and he's definitely made up some places. If we go back, let's see, we'll have a look at... so he's up 5 places. He started in P9, so... MX not looking bad for driver of the day, but it might go to Lawrence, the AI. He started at the back and is up 8 places, but he's going to certainly drop a few more as we go along, as drivers overtake him. Rick's closing in on that Haas, so there's inviting Ghost to do the same. Ghost closing up on the McLaren. Soon it'll be them trying to get past that Haas car, and he's actually much closer now, coming through sector 2. MX maybe with a problem on the car, or maybe just not enjoying these wet weather conditions. Not the dominant force that he was a little while ago. Is the German Canadian, but he's not one to back down, is he? These three will be fighting quite harshly, I'd say. Meanwhile, Tinnos and LB and Daphne Hilliers all continue their skirmish a little bit further down the road. About 5 seconds down the road from Ghost and Rick at the moment. Dust will surely want to get involved, and that's Tinnos having a little look. He's trying a different line. I reckon he might have a good run here on Daphne Hilliers. I mean, are they both? Who's going to go flat out? More ERS in the tank. Yeah, they're all backing off the throttle there. Nobody daring go flat out here. But anyway, back to the front as Ghost looks like he's making a move on Rick. Rick goes defensive. He's going to defend that inside line. Ghost getting from the outside to the inside for the next part of the corner, then back to the outside. Rick defending well here. They're going to go side by side as they run down towards Brussels. It's the inside line once again for the McLaren, who puts that Red Bull into his mirrors and says, you're not coming through here. Yeah, you're going to have to try it somewhere else. And these closing laps are are incredibly wet, but there's definitely some good racing going on. This is helping MX pull away. Ghost and Rick fighting is giving MX the chance to open up that gap a little bit more. No change toward the front. I think those three might stay the same unless some major drama happens. But for now, it's Rick that leads Ghost in the battle for P5. Battle for P7, meanwhile, Daphne Hilliard still leads his trainer cars of Tinos and LB. My Dust could get involved as well if the fighting gets a little bit more heated. Rick catching up again, so MX can't quite rest easy yet. He's definitely not got the pace of the other two behind him, so if he's not careful, they will get past him through here. Perhaps Rick made a mistake going through our Rouge and Radion, and that's what opened the door to an attack from Ghost. Just checking that I wasn't muted this whole time. That would have been embarrassing, wouldn't it? Anyway, Lawrence is AI. I don't know why I keep talking about him. But Rick not quite close enough to MX on the current occasion as they head through La Source. Maybe getting close enough in a moment. Not quite. No change really in between the fighting over here. LB has dropped back from Tinos. He could complete this entire race. Touch wood. We don't need any more drivers crashing out in these dying stages, as Tinos has dropped back a little bit as well. So we'll go back to this fight for P4. This is where the action is at the moment on track. That's the Aston Martin of Pim. He's round at Stavilo 2. Looks like he's still in the session. Let's just check if he's got any damage or anything to that Aston Martin. I don't know, I can't quite tell. Keeping an eye on that time as well, as Rick is closing in as they go through Brussels. MX looking like the slower car in this fight at the moment, but he's currently keeping them honest, keeping them behind. Into the pits must have been damaged then for the Aston Martin. That is a shame. Hopefully he stays in the race. No, he's going to retire from the session. That is a huge shame for the Aston Martin. I don't think he'll get himself points there. I'm not sure he'll be classified as they go through. But the top three, all in their own little no man's land. Here, hoping not to make any mistakes. But the battle for P4 rages on. As the battle for P7 has sort of died off a little bit. But Tinos is still in the hunt at the moment. Rick closing in, Ghost a little bit closer to the back of Rick as well, and is closing in, so there's still plenty of time, but definitely full wet conditions now. You can see the amount of puddles on the circuit. You can see just how heavy that rain now is as well. So rain not escaping us at the moment. Here in APPF1 Tier 1. Rick dropping off a little bit, so MX gets a great run through La Source, it seems, and loses a lot of time through here. Perhaps a higher downforce setup for the Haas driver, perhaps it is. But Rick, a very impressive run through Al Rouge and Radion here. He's going to close right up onto MX. He could challenge him here. It's 3/10 at the moment, that gap. I'm not sure he's going to be close enough as they come into the braking zone. He'll be looking for a way through, looking for a mistake from the Haas driver at the moment as they come through Les Combes at the minute, but no such mistake made. But Ghost has lost a bit of that time to Rick, as Rick must have really made a ballsy run through Al Rouge and Radion to close up on MX the way he did there. And Tinos finally passed Daphne Hilliard in the battle for P7 at the minute. We just missed it watching the battle ahead of them, but I think he must have got that place illegally. He gives the place back, and he's going to have to do it fairly, it seems. And that brings LB back into the mix. So this battle and this battle both getting a bit more interesting. Similar gaps between the two. I'll try and catch as much of that action as I can. It's the only action really going on the circuit. It's three car battles going along, and Ghost has got a great run through the first Stavilo there. Could set up a run on Rick coming through Blanchimont at the moment, and Rick is close to MX as well. We'll keep an eye on them as they come through. MX using his ERS. These guys all around a similar amount. MX off the circuit there a little bit now, and there's an incident. That's LB, he's out of the race. No! He completed the one lap and he didn't manage to finish the race. I'm not sure a safety car can be called this late into the race. So he's just going to be out for now. That's a huge shame for the Alpine. He was going to be able to finish the race, it seemed, but not this time. Rick closing in a bit more. Ghost has closed in much more. He'll be looking for a good run through Al Rouge and Radion, I'm sure. They both will. Could be quite an interesting run down towards Lake On. Up the hill they go. Rick really putting the pressure on MX now. Much better run than the Haas driver at the minute. MX going defensive. He knows that move's coming. He's trying to keep it, trying to break that DRS, trying to break the slipstream, sorry, as well. Still no way through for Rick at the moment. He's all over the back of that Haas though, and the more he has to try and cater to the Haas that's in front of him, the more that he's going to give Ghost an opportunity to find a way through as well. MX doing well to hold this pair off. They are looking like the faster cars in this train at the minute, but MX is holding his own and will get a decent amount of points for Haas if the race were to finish as things are. This is the penultimate lap as Banter Brandon is in no man's land in the lead. Yeah, all aboard the MX train, indeed. Is that MX or is that Fernando Alonso? Yeah, I feel that, Lawson. I feel that big time. Big time. Going through now, Banter Brandon is about to start the final lap of this race, lap 22 of 22. We're watching the action here, MX and Rick and Ghost all following each other. Yeah, it's because it's Spa and it's wet, that's it. There's nothing more to it than that, really. This is Rick's last chance, this final lap to try and get his way ahead of that Haas car and drag home some decent points for himself. Ghost 2 places down from where he started. Probably not the race he envisioned in his head, but much better than the race at the Netherlands at the moment. But car number 2 is giving chase to MX. That's car number, I want to say it's 36. Is that 36? I don't know, we'll see when I can get a better view of it at the minute. Rick, can he get a better run through Al Rouge and Radion than MX? He does, he catapults towards that Haas car, but I don't think he's going to be close enough at the moment. He's got no DRS to help him through there, so no closer than to getting past than he was the last few times. But MX goes a little deep there. Can Rick find a way through? He's all up in the diffuser of that Haas car at the minute. Pim has left the session, but we're watching this battle as it rages on for P4 at the moment. It looks like MX is going to be able to hold on for the time being. At the minute, Ghost is sitting back as well. He's looking to maybe find a way through. Rick testing the limits of the circuit at the minute, trying to catch up to MX, but it's just not good enough. At the moment, he's got one more chance, and that'll be as they run through Pouhon down towards the bus stop chicane. That's what Banter Brandon's doing right now. He is about to come across the line and finish the race. He's got a couple more corners to navigate, as long as he doesn't spin or put it in the wall. Rick all over the back of MX right now, but we're going to go and cut to Banter Brandon, who makes his way through the bus stop chicane for the final time this evening, and he's going to come home and cross the line. It's P1 for the Ferrari once again, followed by Lifebout in the Haas at the moment. For P2, Paulie Orange will come home P3, and the battle for P4 rages on. It's going to turn into the battle for P6. Ghost could have a go here as they come in toward the bus stop. He's going to look toward the outside. Rick parks that McLaren in the middle of the track. Ghost has got a little bit of room. He goes up the inside here, but I think Rick's going to have the much better exit than the Red Bull. These two close on the end, but it's MX4, 5 for Rick and 6 to Ghost. as these three end of the race all close together. Daphne Hilliers has done a good job to hold on to P7, keeping Tinos at bay. They finish P7 and 8 for this Grand Prix. Eat My Dust coming across the line just now to finish P9 with the AI Lawrence of P10 and RJ Blair coming home with as your final finisher in P11. We lost 7 cars in that race. Yeah, Lawrence getting driver of the day, but he was a ghost for the entire race. So no points to him. But Banter Brandon, once again, a dominant force here in Tier 1, it seems. He won in the Netherlands. It was pole on the Netherlands as well. It was pole here because Paulie Orange had that 5-place grid penalty, and he finds himself once more on the top step. I think it's more to do with the crossplay element, Ash. I'm not sure. I don't think we're doing crossplay at the moment here at APPF1, which is the annoying part. Yeah, Banter Brandon then. Here will finish as your race winner, flanked by Lifebound and Paulie Orange on the podium, and fastest lap goes to our race winner as well. MX held on brilliantly for P4 from a charging Rick and goes to add a bit of a scrap on the final lap. Daphne Hilliers comes home in P7 with Tinos closely behind. Eat My Dust P9 with the top 10 rounded off by the AI car of Lawrence. RJ Blair comes home in P11 with LB managing to get himself classified, but those who aren't are Pim, JD, Jackalacco, Lil Manny Man, Vin and Socks, who all did not finish this race.